Hello and welcome to A Muggle's Perspective. Today we're covering chapters 13 through 16 of Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. This is the first time Braden's read these chapters, and that's the whole conceit of the podcast. I'm here with Braden, the aforementioned. I almost had that in the right order in a way that would make a coherent intro, but I just couldn't quite get there. Braden, how the heck are you?
I am good. I am here. I have literally just read these chapters. So it's all fresh in my mind. We've got a lot of stuff to decide whether we care about or not care about. How are you?
You know, I'm good. I've been enjoying this beautiful late summer, early fall kind of weather thing we got going on.
Yeah, the weather has been stupid nice.
Yeah. It's like one of the 4 days a year that it is just perfect.
Yeah. Like I walked out this morning and was actually pretty cold.
Nice.
Like it was chilly this morning, which I like. I like a nice brisk morning.
Mm-hmm. I don't think you probably leave earlier than I do, so I haven't experienced that yet.
Yeah.
So like I said, we're doing 13 through 16 of Order of the Phoenix, some action-packed chapters. Well, not action in the traditional Marvel movie sense, but
not really action, but yeah.
There are things that happen. I mean, in each chapter, none of them are just strictly character building.
Right. There's a lot of important dialogue.
The plot's rolling along, honestly.
The plot's rolling along. Maybe not character building, but certainly character development.
Yeah, those are pretty similar in my head. What do you mean character development but not building?
Character building to me is introduction and this is who this person is.
Okay.
And now this is how they're involved in Harry's life. And character development is and as it turns out, Umbridge is actually an evil hag. And here's a few chapters on why that is a thing.
Yeah, this is just everyone wants to hear what you think about Umbridge episode. Because as you've probably realized now, today, this Umbridge is one of the more hated characters in the series by far. In terms of just you think about her and there's just this visceral I don't like you at all.
Yeah.
And so
she is horrible.
I don't want to speak for our listeners, but I would imagine that this has been highly anticipated for at least this whole book, if not the last book and a half. Oh man, just wait till Braden gets to see Umbridge. Just wait till that detention.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Well, I hope I don't disappoint then. I mean, she is the literal worst. So
she's so bad. It's Umbridge, Voldemort. I don't know. I mean, I could see either way.
There's an argument for both. Mm-hmm. I felt literal anger during some of these chapters.
Yeah, good. There's beef.
I wouldn't say that I've been super emotionally invested yet, and this came there was some real anger here.
In the series up to this point.
Yeah.
This is the first time that real visceral you lose yourself in it and you're yeah, Harry, you tell her off. Chapter 13 is called Detention with Dolores. So you can kind of guess what the subject of it is going to be. Before we get to the detention itself, it's sort of your standard going through the first... Are we still in the first and second day of Harry's year at Hogwarts? We get to go to some different classes. The first point I have is, I don't know if you had any thoughts as to how the school seems to be reacting to the Umbridge fight. I'm right here on page 250, which is we've already read 250 pages of this book. Feels like we just started. And there's people talking about it, a lot of muttering, oh, he says he saw Cedric get murdered. He reckons he dueled with you-know-who.
Yeah, it's a lot of, and we started to touch on this in the last episode, but just there's teams are forming, which is exactly what the Sorting Hat was warning of.
And what Voldemort has to want.
Yeah, no, I think it's playing right into Voldemort and the Death Eater's hands, and I'm not so sure that he isn't using Umbridge to usher that in. We can talk about that later.
I mean, that's like explicitly mentioned in the book. Harry's like straight up, is Umbridge Voldemort?
Yeah, which I don't think that she's Voldemort, but I do think that she's under his like mind control stuff.
Sure, reasonable.
But yeah, it's like I mean, you are either you're on the team of believing Harry and believing Dumbledore, and like what's interesting to me is a lot of characters who come out in full support of Harry are like often mentioned that their family members have always been longtime Dumbledore supporters. So it's just kind of like,
Yeah.
This is what we've always believed, and this is what I'm gonna believe. So, and then you've got the other team. Yeah, you've got the other team that I feel like it was exemplified in these chapters by Percy, just of total. Like full-fledged, we're following Fudge. That was a lot of F's in one sentence.
Full-fledged Fudge followers.
Yeah. So they are more buying into the whole Daily Prophet propaganda. Just a lot more skeptical, starting to believe that Harry's crazy. So it's like it's very obvious the divide already, and just the teams that are forming, and I feel like everybody is tense and kind of walking around on eggshells. Like it just doesn't seem like normal, lighthearted, happy Hogwarts, because it's not.
Yeah, like Harry says, what I don't get is that they all believe Dumbledore, and Hermione's like, you're not looking at this right. They didn't all believe him. They were just told it, and then we left. And it was kind of thrown into the mix, like, along with, okay, this is what Dumbledore says, but this is what the Daily Prophet says. And it seems like it's too hard to actually figure things out and think for themselves. So it's like you said, they're just picking someone to believe and then following them blindly.
Yeah, I mean, it's, to be fair, like, what else are they supposed to do?
Yeah. Because
no one's willing to divulge any information on either side. We haven't even heard, the only contact we've had with Dumbledore in this entire in 250 pages is him showing up with some slick lawyer moves, not even speaking to Harry, and then just leaves.
I mean, Harry is willing to speak truth in terms of his interactions with Umbridge already. The times he's seen him get in trouble, he's like saying things about Cedric being murdered and.
Yeah, but even that, like after just reading chapter 16, like he's not super. He's like, I've said my piece. I don't need to repeat myself.
That's true. Which is like, when? Can you point me to when you said it, Harry?
Right. That's kind of how I was feeling when I read it, is like, I don't know, man. It seems like if you really want people to see your side of the story, you should be willing to share that side.
Yeah.
And I know that comes at a cost right now, especially with Umbridge prowling the halls, but like.
And having to relive it himself.
Yeah, you got to think that a lot of his classmates are like, they don't know what actually happened. They know that Cedric died. They know that Harry emerged. They know that Dumbledore said what he said at the last feast at the end of the year or whatever. And then they know that what the Daily Prophet is pushing and what Fudge and the Ministry are pushing. So, I mean, I try to put myself in those shoes. Like if I'm in high school or middle school and something traumatic happens like this, and like the principal is telling us one thing, but then like the administration is going to like the local media to tell another story and like basically calling them liars. Like, what would I do as a student? You want to believe your principal, but it's like the administration are like higher ups. So am I supposed to believe them? I don't know.
You just find whatever Tom Lutz is doing and you follow that.
Exactly. I didn't feel like it even needed to be said, but
right.
I'm glad that you did, because there's probably people out there who don't know Lom Toots.
I like that every time I say Tom Lutz, you say Lom Toots, and that's it. Like we just move on.
Yep. Again, that's all that needs said.
So this is a long chapter. We go to some classes. There's a lot of homework being done in this stretch of the book. Did you step back from it and feel the same way? A lot of essays being written. A lot of
they're
copying things, copying down diagrams for some reason.
hmm Yeah, so far it seems to be lining up with what Fred and George kind of laid out for them that the 5th year is. It's just seems like the teaching staff is kind of the goal of this year is like, okay, you've been here 5 years, like let's see what you've learned and let's put you to the test a little bit. So,
Yeah, they really are, and we're hearing more about it than we have in previous years from a narrative standpoint.
Which is rough timing considering what's going on in the background here for Harry and well, I mean, Ron and Hermione are just as involved too. So,
is there anything from the classes themselves you wanted to touch on specifically? Anything that stuck out to you? I don't know when you read this chapter exactly, but I mean, we've got Transfiguration, we've got Care of Magical Creatures, we've got, do we have Charms today? We have Charms. I did want to touch on Care of Magical Creatures a little bit, just because Harry's like, hey, you're Hagrid's sub. Are you going to tell me things? She's like, no, I'm not. Oh, and then the Malfoy aspect.
Because I don't think she knows anything either.
On 259, Malfoy does his Malfoy thing. What do you put any stock in that? Maybe the stupid great oath got himself badly injured. Maybe he's been messing with stuff that's too big for him, if you get my drift.
Yeah, I didn't know. Like, I don't feel like that's just put in there for nothing by JKR, but you would have to think that Lucius Malfoy is behind the scenes in all this, being used in a similar role that Hagrid would be by Dumbledore, right? Like Voldemort probably was like, all right, Lucius, however you're supposed to say it.
Either way.
You know, you want to prove your loyalty to me, go out and find Hagrid and make sure he doesn't succeed with whatever Dumbledore's got him doing.
Yeah, someone's got to be doing that.
Yeah. So I don't know what these things are that are too big for him, because I thought he was going out to reach the giant population.
Yeah, you've posited that theory previously.
Things that are bigger than him would be dragons.
Well, you got to remember
that's really all I can think of.
Hagrid is a half giant by blood. He's half human. So
he's not even as big.
Correct.
Yeah.
Full giants are bigger than him.
Okay. So that theory could still be in play.
Sure. Yeah,
we know
dragons
that
make sense too.
Right. But we know from previous conversations that I think it was Dumbledore who was worried about Voldemort going after the giants.
Yeah.
Like trying to recruit them, basically. So
I mean, he said something to Fudge like you have to send an envoy to the giants now to get there before Voldemort does. Fudge is like, what? Giants? I can't. Public relations.
Yeah. So I think that's where he is. I don't know why he would be in trouble other than if Lucius Malfoy got there first.
Yeah, that's true.
So, but even then, that doesn't make sense to me because they're going to see Hagrid and they're going to be like, oh, we know Hagrid.
Yeah, I get
right.
Yeah.
I mean, like he would look like a descendant,
right?
Not as big, but surely somebody in the village would recognize him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, or his
and
mom,
then hopefully
or something.
Lucius. Yeah.
Anything else you want to touch on before we get to detention itself?
I don't think so. I mean, detention is the big deal in this chapter. So
yeah. So I mean, at this point, I don't really have a lot of other points after this in the chapter. It's just kind of your floor. What do you think about what's your understanding of what's going on? What do you think about it? What are the implications?
So detention to me is ran by Voldemort, because I think that Umbridge is controlled by Voldemort. And Voldemort is smart enough to know that he can't just like kill Harry in detention.
Right.
And he can't do anything super drastic that would be noticeable by a lot of people. But something as subtle yet painful as etching words that aren't true into his hand over and over and over, it's almost like Chinese water torture.
So when we get to the point where this episode is being released, one of my favorite Harry Potter memes of all time will be able to apply to this. Are you familiar with the Arthur meme?
I'm not familiar with the Arthur meme.
That's not helpful then. Okay, you'll just have to see it.
Can I look up the Arthur meme?
Yeah, I mean it's just a you know Arthur, like the aardvark from the TV show Arthur.
Oh yeah, I thought you were talking Arthur Weasley.
No, where it's like just like him being mad about stuff and like balling up his fists. And so the meme is like when someone it's that, but it's like when you have to go to detention for telling the truth about Voldemort or something, and so someone like scratched "I must not tell lies" onto his fist, and like it all just works so well. Like when they call you a liar when you're telling the truth about Voldemort returning. It's really good. Yeah, I think they put him in like wizard robes.
Yeah, I was gonna say there are like striking similarities between Arthur the Aardvark and Harry Potter. So,
so he's scratching in. How it works, I don't fundamentally like. You're just putting a dry quill on paper, and you just start scratching the paper,
right?
And blood is coming out of the quill.
I guess I'm kind of annoyed with Dumbledore during this. You could say I'm a little beefy.
That he's not stepping in.
Well, just that, like, I would say it's fair to infer that the entire teaching staff is probably super skeptical of Umbridge.
Sure.
Right?
Yes.
So it has to be common knowledge that Harry is in detention with her. I would think.
It seems like all the students seem to know about it.
Right. So in my mind, either Dumbledore or McGonagall should be thinking, the one that Voldemort is out to kill and who the Ministry wants to silence is going to be in detention 5 nights this week by himself with this lady that we are super skeptical of. Maybe, I don't know, spitballing here, we should send somebody down there just to make sure he's okay every now and then. Yeah. Or send Filch in there to kind of burst in and act like he's cleaning or something and just make sure that Harry's not bleeding from his hands or anything like that. Maybe.
I mean, McGonagall says something to, I don't know if it's Harry or Ron, that's like, well, she's his teacher. She has every right to give him detention. And that's like as far as it goes with her. Oh, it's because they're trying to get her to let him off for Quidditch tryouts.
Yeah.
And so I guess they are just, in their heads, they're like, well, it's detention. And like that stinks, but we wouldn't assume that she would use physical violence on a student. She knows.
I think
the
that's
rules.
Stupid.
She's a government official.
That's super dim and stupid. I'm very disappointed in them.
It's naive, I guess.
Yeah.
An underrated, I mean, like, I don't have a beef sound to make here, but like, can a brother get a time limit on a detention? Can we get a time? Can we say detention's going to be 2 hours long or 3 hours long? Harry's in detention for like 7 hours.
That's what I mean, though. What's so
Can I get some
infuriating about
regulation?
All this? That's what I'm saying. This feels like Quidditch.
Yeah.
And especially, like I was saying, like I think that Ron and Hermione are super important and that every student there is important, but Harry's your most important student right now in terms of whose life is in danger.
Yeah.
He's the one that everybody wants to know where he's at all times. Mm-hmm. So you're just going to send him in with a member of the ministry by himself 5 nights a week. No idea how long he can be in there.
Like, does Mad Eye Moody get it? Like, if he heard about this, he'd be like, "Are you guys serious? You don't lock him in a room alone with the enemy. He needs a bodyguard.
Exactly.
You got to have eyes on this situation."
Sirius would say that.
Yep.
Moody would say that.
Yep. Lupin.
Molly Weasley would say that. Lupin would
Oh yeah,
say that.
Molly's got to be very concerned about his health and safety.
Absolutely. So I think McGonagall genuinely like is probably just doing whatever Dumbledore says, but like why is Dumbledore allowing this to happen? Why does he not have any more concern?
Right. It's a good
Disappointed.
question. What do you think about the phrase Harry is being made to write here? I must not tell lies. Does that have any significance to you? Is that what you thought she was going to make him write when you heard he was doing lines?
Yeah, I thought it would be something along the lines of like trying to beat it into his brain that Voldemort's not back.
She has this obsession with, she's decided, well, my angle is that he's attention seeking. I'll just say that he's saying this stuff because he's seeking attention.
Yeah.
With like, there's no basis for that. She hasn't talked to him once, like one-on-one. She makes no effort to actually find out what's going on. It's just like, oh, you're just saying that to get attention.
Yeah. Yeah,
Does it make you, are you getting mad?
yeah, like this isn't good podcast material because it's making me speechless mad.
What if I played the Braden's beef sound? Would that help?
Well, I've already been beefing for like the last 5 minutes, so I think you kind of missed it.
Bwah, 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 bwah.
Braden's beef! I mean, I don't think there are any rules on like when the beef sound has to come in. It can curtail a very long and beefy beef. Yeah. So,
well, and I'm just, looking ahead, I'm assuming there's going to be some more beeves.
With a V?
Yeah.
Beeves?
Yeah.
Like hooves?
The plural. Yeah. Like wolves.
Yeah. Wolves.
Once we get
Beeves.
to the High Inquisitor. This is such a long chapter. There's a couple other things that happen even after the original detention is described. We just get a lot more of like, oh, Harry had to write these papers, and that was hard. But we find out that Ron is trying out for the Quidditch team.
Which I love. I think I called for that last episode.
You did, yeah.
You
were right on the money with that. Mm-hmm.
I'm genuinely happy for Ron. I can't speak like from innocence because I know what happens with the tryout, but I was like, man, he's got to make the team. This is going to crush me if he doesn't make the team.
That would be wild if JKR had him try out and then he got cut.
I kind of would have respected JKR just for like going that far out on the limb of like, I had you all going. You all thought Ron and Harry were going to be like Quidditch buds. Nope. Gotcha.
Just crushing his spirits.
Kind of turning the knife a little bit.
Yeah.
But she didn't.
No.
Spoiler alerts.
And then the only other thing I wanted to mention here before we get to the next chapter is that Harry spends quite a while trying to hide this from people. He doesn't tell Ron and Hermione immediately what's going on. Ron has to notice it. And then they get a lot of go tell McGonagall, go tell Dumbledore. Because even like what you were saying was they should have guessed that Umbridge was going to do something like this, right?
Yeah.
They should have been more vigilant.
Yeah.
But now that we have evidence, that's kind of another thing. Now it's like you should go tell them it's happening. It's not like maybe it'll happen. It's like this has been happening. You have physical evidence.
Yeah, I think it's annoying that Harry doesn't want to. Like, what's he proving by hiding that from anybody?
Yeah,
but two,
exactly.
I'm still annoyed with. Okay, if you don't want to send somebody in on the detention out of, I guess, respect for Umbridge, whatever, somebody like McGonagall should be following up with Harry after these detention sessions. Like, hey, was anything weird said? Are they trying to brainwash you? Are they making you? Has there been any physical contact? Because there should be zero.
I mean, yeah,
Just the lack of
it kinda
concern
gets back
for
to
this
what you
is like
said.
is crazy.
It gets back to what you said of like, what's Harry trying to prove? Is this just a pride thing? He seems like
Yeah.
it seems like a pettiness thing with the Dumbledore aspect of it. Like, oh, if Dumbledore was interested in me all summer, if he won't talk to me, like I'm not going to bring this in front of him. Like this isn't how I break the silence, is by running to him begging.
Which is totally fine if he wants to keep something like, what's been going on in the classroom. If he wants to be petty about that, okay, whatever. This lady is etching words into your skin and making you bleed for hours.
But technically, she's maintaining plausible deniability. She hasn't laid a finger on him. She's making him etch it into his own skin. Is that better or worse?
I don't think it matters. She is leading the detention, and Harry wouldn't do that to himself. So there's no like explanation needed. Harry just has to go to somebody and be like, hey, this is my hand. I didn't do this to myself, and I was in detention, and I had to write this 40,000 times, and this is what it did to my hand. So
I'm just saying, from a legal standpoint, if she's confronted, can she be like, I didn't touch him? He did it to himself. Can she claim? Does she have any kind of claim like that?
Probably. They probably couldn't like press charges or something, but they could at least be like, "Hey, I don't think we're going to have him in detention with you, or maybe tomorrow night like we'd like to have another teacher in there. Let's just
to
for,
give you a break, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
It's a long detention. Can I
So
get
we're
a
gonna send
can I
in
get a time
Professor
limit?
Snape.
Can I get a 3-hour cap on a detention? And so I guess now that I'm saying that, in their first year, they just went at midnight into the forest, and they were like, come back sometime. So that doesn't imply that there's necessarily a cap on it. But that's not logical to me either. So
Yeah, I feel like the entire magical world, you are expected to become an adult real quick.
yeah, I mean, that's Britain maybe? It's the stiff upper lip?
Yeah. I wouldn't know. I don't know that much about their culture. Is that kind of a theme in British culture, is like,
I mean, what I know about
grow
it
up
is
quick?
reading Harry Potter.
Okay.
I mean, I guess. Like, I've seen Christopher Robin, the Winnie the Pooh movie.
Ooh, Hannah and I just watched that.
Oh, man. I'll be real with you. Like, I cried. Like, it was real.
It was emotional, for sure. It was a well done movie. Hannah was kind of like, "Hey, I want to watch this," and I was kind of like, "Okay, whatever." I used to be a Winnie the Pooh fan. This will be fine. And it was really good. And you're right, it was emotional.
There was heft.
Oh, exponential heft.
Yeah. I mean, we're not going to spoil anything if you haven't seen it, but I mean, I think you can see the themes of having to grow up and, put aside the childish things with both, in the past and present, I guess.
Yeah, it made me miss my childhood more than I ever thought I had the capacity to.
Right. And
So
I
if you have
literally, like,
thoughts
didn't even
about
play with
this,
toys as a kid.
yeah.
Oh yeah, how?
As a listener, if you have thoughts about this, 978-768-8370. Come on the pod.
Our board actually got an upgrade where if there's some software upgrade stuff that happened, I'm told, I don't know. But if someone calls in, say there's like 3 of us recording, you and Jacob are talking about, the Colts playoff chances or whatever, and then Logan calls in, I can like mute myself from being recorded, but like talk to Logan, like, okay, here's what's going on, and like catch him up to speed, and then launch all 4 of us in at the same time. So I'm trying to figure out if there's some way we can do a live pod and like have callers come in and drop out like a real radio show,
I want that desperately.
I know. And it doesn't help that at work now we listen to Sirius radio, like Pulse or whatever. And so I hear a lot of, I mean, I've been hearing that, and they take callers, just how they handle it.
I
and
listen
move
to it
people
every
on.
day.
Yeah.
I listen to the indie sports, like 1070 The Fan.
Yeah.
So they do like a morning session with I think it's Greg and Big Joe or something. That show recently changed. It's not good anymore. And then they do
Crazy
like an
Ira
hour.
and the douche.
The douche. We so horny. The douche. And then it's Dan Lebitard for an hour, Dan Dockich for 3 hours,
Oh no.
and
That way
JMB
you're
for
taking
3
me on a
hours.
roller coaster of how much I'm interested in listening to these people.
It's
I'll
an
listen to Dan Lebitard
entertaining
for an
day
hour.
on 1070, and
Dan Dockich is a totally different beast.
it does come from one end of the spectrum to the other there, all over the lunch hour, and I like both of it.
Interesting. We'll talk
Yeah.
about that later. I actually don't know enough about Dockich to have like really well informed opinions, but I know that I agree. Other end of the spectrum.
Yeah.
Okay, chapter 14, Percy and Padfoot. Oh, I've got some Do We Cares. So most of the Do We Cares actually come from that first chapter. So I'm gonna break it up a little bit. I'm just gonna give a few of them, and then we'll mix them in later.
Mm-hmm.
Do we care? These are things that come out of the classes, basically. So.
Okay.
Potions class is all about moonstones. Do we care about moonstones?
I did notice that they got mentioned quite a bit. I feel like those are one of those things that like Hermione is going to be thinking about throughout the whole story, and like we didn't know about it, and then at the end she's going to be like, and it was a moonstone. That's how Voldemort was in Umbridge's body.
Yeah.
And we're going to be like, oh,
Um,
Hermione's the MVP again.
a couple charms. Do we care about summoning charm, vanishing charm? Those were specifically mentioned in Charms and Transfiguration. Vanishing spell, I guess.
Seems like that would come in use miles beneath the school at the end of the book.
Do we care about the giant wars mentioned in History of Magic?
I'll be honest, I don't remember much about that.
Okay, so that's a no. Do we care about bowtruckles?
An initial reading, no.
Okay. Moving on, chapter 14. I only have 4 points for this one, so maybe we can make good time here. Not that we're trying to rush through, listeners, but, I mean, we can't spend 2 hours in the evening just chit-chatting Harry Potter. Now that I say that, though, I want to. Okay. Percy and Padfoot. So we open up with Harry going up to the owlery. The owlery. The owlery? I've always said
The
owlery.
owlery?
I've always said owlery, but now I'm
Owlery.
second guessing it. Harry writes a letter to Sirius, and he hangs out in the owlery with Cho. Do you have thoughts?
It seems like with every interaction, their love for each other grows.
Something's growing. It's their love. Their love is growing
Oh no.
for each other. What did you think of Harry's encoded letter that he tried to kind of write in a way that it wouldn't be understood by anyone that intercepted it?
Pretty cunning for a 14-year-old. I was impressed.
15.
15-year-old.
He just turned 15, so it's fair. Yeah, it's pretty good, and it's not detailed. You're not going to get a lot from it. You're just going to get that he's concerned, what he's concerned about, like what the concerns are.
Sure.
We move on from that to Quidditch practice. Do you have thoughts on Ron's first Quidditch practice? This is where Ron misses a bunch of catches and pegs Alicia in the face.
I mean, you had to know that Ron was going to struggle a little bit at first. I guess it would seem way too good to be true if JKR wrote Ron's character as and then he came in and he was the best keeper of all time.
Yeah, which is what she did with Harry.
Right. You can't do that twice. She would lose me, I think, as a reader. But I like it. I think it'll be fun because we'll get to watch Ron improve, hopefully. And then maybe there'll be some awesome climactic moment of Ron making the game-winning save or something at the end of the book. I don't know.
Yeah, right. That would make sense as a story arc. The
Yeah.
Slytherins in the stands, really? Like, come on.
Here's a question I have: why do the Slytherins never have anything to do but walk around and like be douche to people?
Yeah, I mean, you'd think they're getting the same amount of homework.
Right. So they just like how does I know Malfoy's not as smart as Hermione. I know that. It hasn't
Facts.
been explicitly stated to me, but I know it.
It would have to have been explicitly stated that he was as smart as her if it was true.
Right. So the only person that should have that kind of downtime to go around and just make fun of people, just like to pass time, should be Hermione.
Which I would pay to see. Like, that's
Yes.
so out of her character, and it would be amazing.
So like, what the heck are the Slytherins doing? How are they passing any of their classes?
It's not clear. Maybe Snape is leaning on the teachers to cushion their grades, or
Maybe they know some sort of
Umbridge's.
like dark charm that Lucius taught them or something. Like,
Yeah.
here's how you change the grade book.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So we go to Quidditch practice. We're mostly concerned with Ron's performance. And then 296, if you're turning in your Pew Bibles here, we've got Percy's letter, which is longer than I remembered it being.
Super long.
It's like 2.5 pages. What were the highlights for you? What stuck out about this letter? Where did it touch your heart?
This made me almost equally as mad as like Umbridge in these 4 chapters. Because frankly, right now Percy is on that kind of level for me. Like after reading this, Percy is the enemy. Like he may as well be a Death Eater for me.
There's no more benefit of the doubt.
No, because I mean it's like there's no. This is what people are saying about Harry. It's like this is what's true, and if you're not on board, then just you may as well be an idiot like mom and dad. And so quit hanging around with Harry. I know he's your best friend and all, but he's a liar. And one day, hopefully, like mom and dad will be as smart as me, and they'll apologize to me. It's like just the arrogance is like dripping from this letter.
It's wildly arrogant.
Oh man. He is a tool. Like Percy sucks.
Yeah, he really does. Seriously, Ron, you do not want to be tarred with the same brush as Potter. It could be very damaging to your future prospects, and I'm talking about life after school too. Like he somehow just grew up and was only concerned about like social status and wealth. Like that was all he wanted to do was get more power.
Right. Which, how much older is he than Ron and Harry? Yeah, Ron and Harry.
He is like the equivalent of a 9th year right now, so he's 4 years older.
Okay, that's probably a little older than I had it in my head, I guess. But still, like, just the way he speaks from, like, I've had all these years of life experience that you don't even know about yet. And
it just makes him douchier.
Oh my gosh. Like, at this point in time, I don't think that he is under the control of like Voldemort yet. I could be completely wrong about that, and that will be fun at the end if I learn that he is. But I almost have like more feelings of hatred for him at times throughout these chapters than Umbridge, because like Umbridge, I try to keep in mind that like in my mind she is being controlled by Voldemort. So like I still hate the character, but it's like it's Voldemort to me. I don't feel that way about Percy. I feel like he's just so ate up with social status and wealth and like reputation and outward appearance that's the motivation and drive behind all this, which is just disgusting.
To take the digs that he does at his own parents, who we know stone cold are just such decent, good people, is wild.
Yeah, it's like yeah, reading this was almost hard to stomach at like and which I really love Ron's response to it.
He's just like, I'm flushing this out of my mind and heart. Like, he's dead to me. I hate him. And I'm just moving on.
Well, not only that, but I felt like Harry really needed that in that moment. Because he's been hearing the whispers, he's been like seeing people, you know, kind of and hearing the little bits and pieces of the speculation about him, but this was a 2.5 page like, hey, Harry's crazy and you got to get out of there while you still can. So like that had to have hit home and really hurt. And so Ron's like ripping up the letter and throwing it in the fire, I felt like was awesome just for Harry's confidence and like their friendship as a whole.
Yeah, absolutely. So we go from Percy pretty quickly to Sirius. So same deal, highlights from the Sirius conversation, things that are sticking with you.
Highlights from the Sirius conversation that are sticking with me.
Yeah, I mean,
like when he's in the fire.
Yes, we're on page 301.
I didn't like how it ended. I don't know. It was like a weird division between Harry and Sirius that we hadn't seen yet. Like the whole line, like you're not as much like your dad as I thought you were. That's a little harsh. Didn't really love that from Sirius.
We gotta try to keep in mind every emotion for Sirius is just ratcheted up to 10 because he's just so stuck. This is all that he has. Like he's pouring all of his emotion and time into thinking about Harry.
Sure.
So we're seeing what's really, really in, like, what he's thinking, like, deeply, because this is the only human interaction he has.
Yeah. Yeah, I should probably give him a little more leeway. But I'm trying. I mean, Harry's in a really fragile state right now, too. So.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I mean, Sirius isn't exactly being responsible or mature.
No.
He's putting Harry in the position of having to, like, think about safety.
Right. It's just, I don't know. We went from such a high with the response from Ron with that letter to that. And I hated the timing of it, I guess. So.
That takes us to chapter 15, the Hogwarts High Inquisitor. So Hogwarts High Inquisitor, this starts with another long sort of article in the Daily Prophet.
Mm-hmm.
What is a High Inquisitor? Why is it Umbridge? And how do you feel about it? Oh, no, we have some Do We Cares.
Okay.
Do we care about the elf hat situation that Hermione's knitting?
I don't personally. I haven't been paying that much attention to Hermione's like elf stuff, but I feel like it gets mentioned enough that like we're gonna end up caring. I feel like that's been my response to all your Do Your Cares, and I don't mean for it to be a generic like, well, I don't care, but I know that I will.
It's hedging your bets, which is, we don't want that. We want a firm yes or no.
Okay, I don't care about elf clothes.
Good. Okay, don't care about elf clothes. Do we care? We already talked about the Slytherins and their taunts. This is kind of a general one. Do we care about homework? Are we like, yeah, Harry's got to get his homework done? Do we think we should be putting less stock in that?
No. There are much more important things at stake right now and things to be worried about, so no.
Okay.
They'll get it figured out. They'll turn it in. It'll be fine. This may not be a banner year for their grades, but they'll be fine.
Do we care about the subplot of Hermione versus the twins? We get a little bit more of that here and there with the twins in terms of the candy
prefect
testing,
stuff.
skiving, snack boxes stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I care a little bit because to me, you don't want Fred and George as enemies. Like you want those guys on your side. You don't have to like them, but you want to keep them on your side. And I don't think Hermione gets that, or at least yet. And I feel like that might come back to bite her.
I'm just waiting. It's like, am I under arrest, officer? Like, what rule have I broken? I'm waiting for that. But it was interesting how she went to like, oh, I'm not going to put you in detention. I'm going to write your mom.
Yeah, she went for the home run there.
That's real. Like, you don't just do that casually.
Yeah.
Okay, Hogwarts High Inquisitor. What's going on with that?
Professor Umbridge is basically takes on the role of like your high school principal that just like floats into a classroom to make sure a teacher's actually doing his job. Except she does it for every teacher. And she's super condescending, scribbling a bunch of notes, basically asking, except it's not like, I don't think it's an honest review of the educational experience in that classroom. It's like, let me go review all the people that Dumbledore has hired and let me write down why that was a terrible decision. Because like she's asking all these professors like how long you've been here, and oh, you were hired by Dumbledore, right? And
yeah, trying to get a gauge as to where their loyalties are, how loyal are they to the ministry, how easy is it going to be to manipulate them.
right. I don't know. I feel like she's a spy.
I was going to say, what's your concept of how much power she has ultimately?
Way too much.
What's the end game as far as like the most extreme thing where you could see this going?
I think it becomes, and I think this gets mentioned either by like Hermione or Ron, but like I feel like it's going to get to the point where if you don't comply with her, show any kind of support for Dumbledore, you'll just be like, you're gone. Get out. Like I feel like she'll get the power to rewrite not just her curriculum for Defense Against the Dark Arts, but like everyone's curriculum and what should be taught.
Which seems wild because like a lot of these teachers have to be respected in the wizarding community. Like Flitwick and McGonagall and Sprout have taught every adult wizard out there, all these kids' parents. So there's only so much you can do as far as forcing them out before people are like, okay, really? Like all of these people that I have really strong, specific memories of being good people, you're saying are all terrible teachers.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm sure he's just biding his time, waiting for the right moment, but I'm starting to get a little annoyed with the lack of Dumbledore presence.
Yeah. Because it's like that's the trump card that we need to be bringing in here.
Which I think is the idea that JKR is. I think that's the point. I think this like impatience that I'm dealing with is like designed for the reader, I would assume.
So our first class that Umbridge, what's the word? Inspects is divination with Trelawney. And I like that Harry is like not sure which side to be on because he does hate Trelawney, but does he hate Umbridge more?
Yeah, this was an interesting moment because I was feeling the same thing before like JKR spelled out that Harry was feeling that. Because I think, I mean, you've asked me in like a lot of Do We Cares if I care about Trelawney, and I don't. And I'll continue to be stubborn about that until I need to care about Trelawney. But like, this was the first moment where I was like, sort of on her team. So it was kind of fun for me as the reader to like think and feel that, and then read that Harry was thinking and feeling the same thing. Like normally it's I read what Harry's thinking and feeling, and I'm like, yeah, that's how I would feel, or that makes sense. But it was like it was echoed by Harry's thoughts and feelings.
It's like driving so fast that you're outstripping your own headlights.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? It made sense in my head. Next class that is inspected, Oh, next we go to Defense Against the Dark Arts class again. On page 316. And Harry gets detention again. Oh, this time because Hermione gets 5 points taken away from her for having read the whole textbook already. And then Umbridge yells at Harry, for insulting Quirrell. And like, I'm sorry, is this just not a known fact that Quirrell had a Voldemort head?
It's crazy. But by Harry saying that, he's implying that Voldemort's alive. So just, stop even talking about that. The blindness and just like propensity to treat them like they are 5-year-olds is almost comical to me.
But I mean, it makes sense that if, from your perspective, as far as you're concerned, it's an act because she is just supporting Voldemort at this point. Like, she's being controlled by Voldemort, and so it makes sense that she's in that way. It makes sense, and there's no other real way to justify in your head how she's acting. Like, is there a scenario where she's just so sort of Percy-ish, like ministry obsessed, loyalty to Fudge obsessed, and like doesn't actually support Voldemort, but like buys the Fudge line about Dumbledore? Like, what did Sirius say? Dumbledore is raising an army, and that's what Fudge is afraid of.
Yeah, I hadn't considered that until that became like that got mentioned. I can't remember where at, but that there are rumors out there that Fudge has an army. And then there are rumors that Dumbledore is then trying to build an army through the students by teaching them defense against the dark arts. And so the ministry is trying to squash that by just making them read books and not actually learn spells. And so I could see that. I mean, that like she's just a Fudge supporter who is afraid of Dumbledore. But
would have to be so blind for that to be the case.
I guess where I lose faith in that theory is like the detention, the like scratch, like the smile on her face when Harry's in pain.
Yeah.
And then obviously the whole burning of the scar when she touches him. Like, she's connected to Voldemort somehow.
Yeah, that kind of gets us to, I mean, we don't want to necessarily skip straight over the glory that is her inspecting McGonagall in Transfiguration.
Yeah, that is an awesome scene.
Where she's just like, I'm sorry. Do you want to see me teach, or do you want to keep interrupting me?
I loved it. I loved every minute of it.
And then, so after that is when we get to detention again. And we get
which is just more
she's
writing with blood hands, right?
Yeah. But that's like you said, when she touches Harry and he thinks that she's being controlled by Voldemort.
Yeah.
I'm not finding what page that's on. Anyway, we wrap up the chapter with a conversation about Harry becoming their de facto Defense Against the Dark Arts professor. Is this workaround something that you had considered?
It's not. I had never considered that. I think it's once you hear Hermione say it out loud, it's a very logical idea. Like, defense against the dark arts, who has the most real experience with needing to defend against the dark arts? Harry, who has defended himself against the Dark Lord himself. So like, it's interesting. Like, he doesn't have the knowledge that like a Moody or a Lupin does, but he's got years, not years, but like the experience he's gained having to face off with Voldemort in the last 3 or 4 years is like, I would argue, probably surpasses anybody like Moody or Lupin. So
I mean,
when you're faced with you just continuing to go week to week with Umbridge's BS textbook droning, or talk to the guy who's actually defended himself against Voldemort, makes sense.
Yeah, I wonder how much of it is him actually being an objectively excellent resource versus him just being the best they've got. I mean, if it's almost the same.
Oh, I think it's definitely the best they've got right now.
Yeah, like who else?
Because he's not a teacher.
Who else could you go to? Yeah.
Right. He's not going to be able to like think through good lesson plans or like, here's how I should introduce this stuff in stages. But he's going to be like, hey, this is what happened when I was with Voldemort, and here's how I defended it, and here's how we can work on you being able to make a Patronus or that kind of thing.
Yeah. So it seems like, yeah, you're pretty much on board. And I mean, obviously you've read the next chapter. Like, you know that they start going ahead with it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's interesting to hear him and Hermione go back and forth, because he does raise valid points about the luck and help involved.
Right.
Like, half of it is him and half of it is Fawkes.
Yeah, and I'm glad that he acknowledged that, because, I mean, whether we want to acknowledge it or not, as like fans of Harry Potter, like, it isn't that he's an extraordinary wizard. Like, he's had some really good breaks at the right time. He's extraordinarily brave, like the love of Lily Potter, but I wouldn't say that he's been able to escape Voldemort because of his like extraordinary wizarding skills. He is skilled, but he's caught some good breaks too.
Yeah, I mean, like, if we were going to go based on who has the most knowledge of spells and theory, then we would go with Hermione. Like, we're acknowledging that he has more of a blend of those things, but also the real world experience.
Sure.
So, do we care about their grades? You kind of talked about this, pretty much said you don't.
Not really.
You're not like, oh, Harry better get
Although
all
I do care
those.
that like Harry got the worst grade. It sounds like.
Do you care about the different kinds of grades? It's not A, B, C, D, E. Can you list for me what the best grades? The grades are best to worst.
E, which is like exceeds expectation.
Yep.
A is acceptable.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if there's an F. Is F like fair? I know P is poor.
Uh-huh.
D is dreadful. I think Fred or George says jokingly that like T is troll.
Yeah, and it's like, is that a joke? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I couldn't tell.
You did.
Am I missing?
You missed one. E for exceeds expectations is the second best you can get. There's one above that.
Oh.
Yeah, you're good. O for outstanding.
That's what I meant.
Yeah, I know. Do we care about Alicia's nosebleed?
Yeah, because that means that Fred and George's stuff they're working on isn't right yet.
I always kind of got the impression
it actually
that...
has...
No, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No. You go ahead.
It actually... I think it's like it makes it go way worse, right? Like they end up taking her to the hospital wing because like she's bleeding profusely from her nose. So like they've got their stuff turned way too far up.
So how I've always read that is that they accidentally gave her the one that makes your nose bleed, and didn't give her the one that stops your nosebleed, because it's like a two-ended capsule thing. It's like a Dr.
Gotcha.
Mario pill. If
Yeah.
you can imagine that falling down, and you're supposed to eat the orange end, and they gave her the purple end or something like that.
Yeah.
And so they're like, oh, crap. But it should at least let them realize, like, we maybe need to package this a little more clearly.
Should package a little more clearly. Maybe dial back the quantity of blood that is. Yeah.
I'm sure, like, part of it is that she was already bleeding, and so it just exacerbated it.
Sure.
All right, that takes us to chapter 16 in The Hog's Head, kind of a fun turning point chapter here. We get to hear from a lot of people, like dialogue that we don't hear from a lot, and I like that. We get to go to a new location, and does it feel to you like the start of something once we finish this chapter up? Like, okay, this is happening.
Yeah, it does kind of feel like, we're talking about at the start of this episode just the formation of teams, and I feel like this is a team that I did not see coming, but it's like, if you're going to come to these like classes, air quotes, that Harry's putting on, like you're all in on his team. Like there's really no, because I mean, if you get caught, you're done in terms of with the ministry. So
yeah, so a couple of questions I've got for you here. Before we get into the meeting itself, did you have any thoughts on the Hog's Head, the location that they're in, or on kind of the introduction, like how this came about, like how Hermione went and talked to people, any of that kind of thing?
Well, I think I understand where Hermione's coming from with like if we meet at the Hog's Head, nobody will probably be able to, like nobody that we go to class with and stuff or teachers would probably be there. But I feel like it's also the kind of dark, dingy place that like dark wizards would hang out. So it doesn't seem super bright to me. Like Harry mentions like the one gray-haired looking dude that kind of looks familiar in there or whatever. Like that kind of stuff is, I feel like somebody's in there listening.
Yeah, because Ron's like, oh, maybe that's Umbridge in that like hag's cloak, and she's like, it's too tall to be Umbridge, which is pretty cavalier. It could be one of Umbridge's spies or whatever.
To me, that seemed even just as risky as like meeting in a place where other students are, because you could at least disguise that as like, well, it's just a special study group for a class. Go away,
So yeah, what do you think about that aspect in terms of, is this something that they could get in trouble for if Umbridge found out they were doing it? What's the culpability factor here? Yeah, it's like this is against a rule that she'll make up.
Yeah, because there's not a real rule. Like Hermione's already checked that out, but it
violates the spirit of the law only in so much as the spirit of the law is whatever Umbridge wants.
Well, and I mean, it comes directly against the whole entire reason that Umbridge is there, to like squash the entire narrative that Voldemort's alive and Harry defended himself against him. So by all of these students acknowledging that Harry did and want to learn from his experience, I mean, that's exactly what the ministry doesn't want. So
because it implies that his experience is valid.
Right.
As far as the meeting itself, we've got Hermione's speech. Any thoughts on who all shows up? Surprises, surprising omissions?
Zachariah Smith, I'm pretty skeptical of. Don't feel like he's all in. I was kind of surprised that Cho was there. Kind of surprised, kind of not. Like she probably came for Harry, but wasn't really surprised that Neville came. I'm trying to read through the names here.
First, I'm on the bottom of 337 here. First came Neville with Dean and Lavender, who were closely followed by Parvati and Padma Patil, Cho and one of her usually giggling girlfriends. Then Luna Lovegood, then Katie Bell, Alicia Spinnet, Angelina Johnson, Colin and Dennis Creevy. Love a good Creevy. Ernie McMillan, Justin Finch Fletchley. What do we call it? Justin Nikhil Walker? Nikhil Alexander.
Justin Gilgis Alexander.
Yeah.
I'm not really, there aren't that many omissions that I'm that surprised by, I guess. Am I missing someone important?
No, I just wanted to pick your brain on that.
Yeah.
Hermione gives her speech on 339. And then I guess what I'm asking is, did the course of the meeting kind of go how you were predicting? Or were you surprised by how much they wanted Harry to like specifically run through, did you do this and that, like the questions that they have for him?
There was more of that than I expected. I guess naively, I thought that most of the people there were coming to really learn Defense Against the Dark Arts, and I felt like the majority of them were actually there to just like, hey, we're not sure what to believe, and we kind of want to believe you, but like you need to give us some details.
Yeah, there's not as
which
many
I feel
people.
like is where I would be as a student if I didn't know, you know?
Sure, that's fair.
Like, I like Harry, he's a good guy. I want to believe him, but like somebody's got to fill me in here.
But I mean, even when Harry says on 341, if you're just here to hear me talk about Cedric, then just leave. Because I'm not going to do that.
I get what he's saying about Cedric specifically, but the whole attitude of like, I've already said my piece and I don't need to explain myself any further, I think is the wrong way to look at it. And hopefully this like group will bring him out of that, and hopefully he will see the benefits of like keeping people in the loop and being more open and honest than he has been.
Yeah, I mean, it's a kind of a tightrope to walk, because it's like, yeah, he needs to be more trusting, but can he just jump into trusting all of these people? Like, who do you trust?
Right. Right, because I mean, that's true. Like the Zacharias Smith guy, like I don't trust him. So I do get the skepticism.
Yeah, they do what you'd expect. They kind of run through everything that Harry did in the last 4 years. And Harry does his modest thing. You know, I had help with all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then it gets down to brass tacks. Hermione's like, okay, so we're going to do this. And when are we going to meet? Where are we going to meet?
And everyone's like, whenever we're not playing Quidditch?
Yeah, everyone. Even though some of these Quidditch teams have like one person on them that are in the group. Like, are we going to schedule this entire thing around your one conflict?
Right. Right. If it's Cho, we might.
Harry's like, oh man, Ravenclaw Quidditch practice? Ah, dang it. No, we really want to try to make sure everyone can come. So.
We don't want anybody to miss out.
No.
So.
No one. No child left behind. No child left behind.
No Cho left behind.
No Cho.
We here at A Muggle's Perspective are officially supporters of No Cho left behind.
I like on 345 when it just takes a turn and this just becomes Luna saying, well, Cornelius Fudge has his own private army of heliopaths. And we just get like
frick?
a whole page of Hermione being like, oh my freaking gosh, you're so dumb. Don't, Neville.
Who let her in here?
Neville, you're impressionable. Don't listen to her. You can't just say things are things.
And I actually like Luna's response to all of it too. Just whenever Hermione just says anything like, no, it's not. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. She's just
but like,
flat.
no, it's not.
Yeah.
Predict for me where they're going to hold these meetings. because they haven't been able to figure it out yet.
So I'm going to take this one out of my brother-in-law's book, Mitchell. He's had like kind of a qualm with these books in general. Like whenever they need to have secretive conversations and stuff, why do they not use the Chamber of Secrets more?
Ooh,
Which
that's
I think
so
is an
true.
excellent point. And this seems like the perfect place to hold said meetings.
Okay, plenty of room.
They definitely underutilize the Chamber of Secrets considering they know how to get in there.
Yeah. Okay. I guess the argument would be the trauma that Harry experienced there and Ginny. The rotting snake flesh, maybe? How long does snake flesh take to, like, dissipate? It's not like there's a lot of fresh air flowing through this room, though.
That's a good point.
And it's a
Might
lot
be
of
kind of
snake
nasty
flesh.
down there.
Yeah. But, I mean, you can do magic.
Seems like there's a spell for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hermione knows the spell for that.
Yeah.
Okay. They're going to do it in the Chamber of Secrets, Miles beneath the school. That pretty much just ends us with, I think, 3 things. One, there's the thing where Hermione makes everyone sign a paper. Do we care about that?
Did everyone sign? Did anyone?
Well, it says when the last person, Zacharias, had signed.
Yeah.
So we are not told that anyone skipped out on it.
I mean, that's a big deal because I mean, if this thing gets out and they get caught, I mean, that document is pretty damning.
The other 2 more things. One of them is Ginny leaving with Michael Corner.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
That made you feel
'cause,
unhappy. You
yeah,
felt for Ron there.
Felt for Ron, and that's fine that Harry's having his fun with Cho. We've all been there, but we know who the soulmate is. We know who he's supposed to end up with, and so it's written into the perfect love story where they go and they have their separate relationships that don't work out, and then they find each other in the end. So I'm fine. It just kind of sucks to be in it right now.
It's a real Ross and Rachel situation.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
And then, the other thing was just what Hermione says at the end. Well, Cho couldn't keep her eyes off you, could she?
And then the best line, I think this is my favorite ending line of a chapter yet.
Yeah.
So, well, said Hermione, smiling slightly, she just couldn't keep her eyes off of you, could she? And then the next line is just, Harry had never before appreciated just how beautiful the village of Hogsmeade was.
Yeah, you just picture like a movie where like it's upbeat music playing. Like I'm walking on sunshine, he's skipping down the streets.
Yeah.
Shaking hands with the guy, like tipping the hobo.
He's like pointing the 2 fingers like
Yeah.
the Fonzie, like, hey,
Yeah.
like he's feeling good.
Yeah. It's the boys are back in town.
Yeah.
He runs that place. A couple do we cares here. Do we care about, like you said, the barman who
Yes.
is like cleaning the glass with a dirtier rag than the glass?
Yeah, which no one seems to care about. Everyone just buys their drinks and drinks out of it.
Well,
no one cares
Flitwick was like,
because it's the Hogshead.
make sure you bring your own glass when you go to the Hogshead.
Yeah. Can no one get a clean rag?
I
I totally get the whole
for that?
like dirty bar thing, but there's still like sinks and soap. So this
I-
seems like an effort to not be clean.
Can I get a spell for that? I don't know. So, but we care about the barman?
Yeah, I think he was listening. I think he is an excellent candidate for like a spy,
Sure.
a Death Eater probably.
I mean, it's it's the kind of guy that can fly under the radar. Barman hears everyone's sob stories, and you never think twice about saying whatever to the barkeeper.
Right.
Do we
Absolutely.
care? Do we care about the role that alcohol is playing here? Do we care about Ron being like, "Oh, I bet you they'd just sell me fire whiskey."
I do care about that because every like 17-year-old kid has said that at some point. So that was a fun little like, oh, they are human.
Yeah.
Like you've been with your friends before and been like, I bet they wouldn't even ID me here. Like I bet I could buy a beer.
Yeah. Have we considered? Oh, I guess we talked about it a little bit with the House Elves last book, but like butterbeer has some alcohol content.
I forget that, and I don't really fully consider that. D- Dude, I kind of read Hermione's like falling asleep in the chair with like a cup in her hand as like she
Sure.
maybe had a little too much butterbeer.
Yeah, and I guess maybe she has a lower tolerance for it.
Well, that's what I mean. She's probably tiny and like,
Yeah, Hermione,
yeah,
she keeps herself sculpted. No body fat. Like I
yeah,
heard a story recently about, they were talking about what they eat on the Tour de France and how they're just like shoveling in like plain rice and stuff like that because it's just about getting carbs inside of your body.
sure.
And
Like
then,
Michael Scott before the
like,
Pro-Am fun run.
yes, I thought you were talking
You're
about Michael
just,
Phelps, like how he actually would eat 20,000 calories a day or whatever. But yes, like Michael Scott, he's got to carb up. But I guess there's a tradition where right after, like the night at the end of the Tour de France, when they're all at the finish line, they all go to like this one certain bar and they all get champagne and like literally in one champagne flute. Like they're all like raging drunk because,
oh, I'm sure.
I mean, they've been sweating for however long and depriving themselves of anything like that. And they have absolutely no tolerance. And so it's like these big athletes that like take a sip of champagne and just start like, singing the French national anthem or whatever it is they're doing.
Yeah, I believe it.
So that Hermione's basically a professional cyclist.
I think that's what we can all agree on after these chapters.
Anything else that you're keeping your eye on that I've not mentioned? Or if we pretty much covered it?
Just excited to see Ron become the keeper that I know he can be.
Yeah, that'll be good. All right. Well, thank you guys.
Well, one thing. Hold
okay.
on.
I'm holding.
One thing that we didn't talk about is Filch accusing Harry of ordering dung bombs.
Ooh, okay.
Which isn't that big of a deal, but he said he got a tip about it, and Hermione seems to be thinking on that pretty hard. Like, I think there's an actual sentence in there that says, like, Hermione was lost in thought after this as they walked along or something to that effect.
Yeah.
So that seemed like something I should care about because of that.
Why? What? Okay, so care about it. What do you think?
I think it was Umbridge.
Umbridge was like, Filch, go check Harry Potter's mail. And he was like, why? And she was like, because he's ordering dung bombs.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what happened. I think the entire goal of the ministry right now is to get Harry out of the way. And by doing that, either knowingly or unknowingly, isolating him to where Voldemort can get to him easier. Those are my final thoughts.
And Filch is knowingly or unknowingly complicit.
I would say unknowingly, but yeah, complicit.
Okay. Well, if you have thoughts about Filch's complicity in Harry getting moved out of the way for the ministry, if you have thoughts about Umbridge, which I know, dear listeners, you do, because you are Harry Potter fans, and Jacob, please follow us on. Actually, Jacob is a Harry Potter fan. Let's not defame Jacob. If we're gonna defame anyone that is maybe
quit screwing around
and
call in.
Yeah, Jacob's gonna be here this weekend in Warsaw.
Good. So. Tell him that I'm sick of I'm really fed up with the lack of calling in that he's doing.
Okay, I'll tell him. I was just gonna say that I don't want to defame Jacob. Jacob actually does listen and actually is a Harry Potter fan. It's Eric that I want to say doesn't listen and isn't a Harry Potter fan. So we had a running joke for years. Whenever he would say something about Harry Potter, I'd be like, "Have you've read the books?" Or if it's just and like he absolutely did read the books, and I knew it. But I would always pretend to forget it because he's not me. He doesn't have encyclopedic knowledge of it. So
sure.
Maybe it's the one area where I was smarter than Eric, but it's fine. Please follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Rate, review, 5-star. I feel like we haven't talked about that as much lately. Leave a dope review. There's other podcasts that do a thing where if you leave like a 5-star review, then and ask a question in it, then we'll like do it. It's like a mailbag. Like we'll answer the question on here.
Yeah, I would love that.
You can try that. I will. If you are doing that, then I will consider checking the reviews on a regular basis and figuring out how to do that.
That would be fun.
Howl at us, Jacob, Chad. It might feel like you haven't heard any howlers in a while, but I promise you will. We actually will probably backdate it. So there's no point in telling you that, because if you howl in after hearing this episode, then you will have already heard the howler full episode. You know what I'm saying? Because we'll put that out before this. Anyway, howl in. Let us know what you're thinking. We'd love to hear it. 978-768 Potter 0. 978-768
8370.
8370. Okay.
Yep.
Just look at the letters on your phone and type in 978 Potter 0. Leave us a message. Support us on Patreon. Patreon.com/MugglesPerspective. We did recently get... Okay, let's see here. Did I already announce who the new patron was? Did I tell you? Did you know we had a new patron?
I thought you said it last episode, but...
Okay, well, let's do it again. We have a new $5 patron, J.S. Adido. J.S., thank you very much. Again, if we haven't already, or not again, if I haven't already talked about it. We really appreciate it. It helps us keep doing what we're doing. Helps us eventually send Braden to the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. And that's very eventual, but hey, you got to start somewhere. Thank you to editor Jess and producer Jeremy. Thank you to Rachel. No thank you to Hannah. Anyone else?
Thank you, Andrew Luck, for all that you did and for quitting 2 weeks before the season.
Andrew Luck, and I cannot stress this strongly enough. Come on the pod.
Please. I would have to think he's a big Harry Potter fan, and that would be freaking awesome.
I know for a fact he's a big Game of Thrones fan. So, I mean, you know,
please, Andrew Luck. Please, Andrew Luck, come on the pod.
Andrew Luck, come on the pod. We'd love to see it. Thanks, guys.
See ya.